Well, I'm happy to report that my toothache seems to be diminishing. The swelling has gone down. It still hurts, but I have faith in Mudflood was Armageddon. Mudflood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. No fisticuffs. Let's do I don't have a lot of YouTube pulled up today, but I do have some. There's the disclaimer. You want to check out what I got for downloads today? What's this guy? He spotted the AI the Asian guy talking about silver going to go through the roof. He's talking about he's not worried about it because he doesn't live in the city. And he talks about, and living in the city is not usually the way to make it. He showed a little clip about how, you could outsmart those guys. I was looking for a thumbnail for this title. And before I could go to the images, it said, no, that's not true. There's no proof to support this claim. While the assertion has been widely circulated in alternative history and conspiracy theory circles, there's no historical or scientific evidence to support it. Well, says them, but the Lord didn't have me start a channel called Golden Age Past, Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age Past. February 2017. Many of these homes in Linda Vista, suburb of San Diego, were built in 1940-41 as part of a government project to house aircraft workers for the war effort. How new is everything? The construction project that was assisted by Reuben H. Fleet began in October 1941, so that's before the day of infamy Pearl Harbor, resulted in 3,001 houses being built in 200 days. So when they want to, they can get you up and running. I decided to go with the thumbnail here because it just shows all kinds of mysteries. It looks like they spray concrete at something that had been there since the time of the Lord. Underneath it, it's just a cover up. Everything's a cover up. Erica Kirk's shady family mob ties. It does seem that the mob and now the Jews and the Mormons and the Jewish mafia and the Mormons were a mafia. They all have that anything but Jesus alone, scripture alone. They have separate Bibles and stuff. It's just, I honestly don't think I could be more right if I wanted to be about all of this stuff. Priests and prophets of permissiveness. It was these guys: William Blake, Sigmund Freud, Lenny Bruce, Bertrand Russell, Allen Ginsberg, Bob Dylan, the Beatles. They had one thing in mind. They wanted your children to be whores. Burl, I did look up beryllium. Burl is it's what makes the gemstones uh, expensive. Gems, it's what makes them precious gemstones. The papyrus, okay, so I looked up the Gracias Holmesis, written in the 3rd and 4th century, contains notes on how to prepare artificial emeralds and beryls. And we acted like that was such a big deal when we invented it in the 80s. And you could make a diamond out of your pet. That's a Christian church. That's a Christian pastor. She's showing off, saying, this is how you get in shape. Yeah, right. So that's from yesterday. Hillary Clinton was not a Rhodes Scholar? Because I found it out. Then I showed a bunch of pictures. These are the people that they want to put in charge of you now because they got a gun. And when they ask for your ID, you better give it to them or you're going to go to jail. Thank you for that update. I am so happy to hear that. Looking for the thumbnail, I got this. Remember these guys? I was trying to show them. These guys don't talk anymore. He doesn't do conspiracy anymore. Somebody doubted his book, so he thought they were going to kill him. He honestly thought, it's not worth it. What if they don't like me enough where they come and kill me? I can't do it anymore. Well, it was because he had to explain the heresy of his book that, angels did not have, or Satan did not have sex in a threesome with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and he hung everything on it. But they were talking about, here, read this. Preterism is something else. We need to call this something else. Well, I was trying to tell them that for years, but they don't want to listen to me. And, my friends like these guys. They like these guys. There might be something to it, man.
That's not how, that's like jumping into the deep end of the swimming pool with weights on your ankles and not knowing how to swim. Because you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. So now's the time.
So he thinks you should be ready because they're all dumb. The bad guys are all dumb.
You just can't go and, put up a solar system and think everything's going to work great. You can't just throw seeds in the ground and think everything's going to pop them and you're going to have a whole pantry full of food. That doesn't happen that way. There's going to be successes and failures. And the time to learn is right now. Getting your hands dirty, getting your feet muddy. I always tell people, I know things are growing when I smell the smell of manure on my homestead. I've got poop on my boots, and poop is a great sign that your homestead is growing. If you don't have poop, you don't have animals growing, you don't have animals reproducing, you don't have all kinds of things that are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing in order to feed your family. But the way you do that, the way you get in on that is to do it now, to learn these things, because I believe we're going to come to a point real quick, fast, and in a hurry. In your lifetime and in my lifetime, we are not going to experience the prosperity that our grandfathers, our great grandfathers had built before us. That time is coming to an end. And it doesn't take a genius to predict this. And there'll always be people in my comment section who are going to, oh, you're just a doomer and glimmer. You can't prepare. You don't have enough guns to stop all the people from taking everything from you anyway. They're always like, you don't have enough. You're going to run out of bullets one day. Let me tell you how that's going to go.
The 12 gauge pump, boys. It's only got 3 shots. You can't get us all.
Wow. Now we know he can add and he can subtract. So who wants to be next here?
Yes, my friends. Maybe I die at the OK Corral. Maybe.
Probably. Eventually. You're not going to make it if you want to go into gunfight and I only got a lot of bullets, but if I kill this one guy, you're talking jab-infected zombies, man. The Asian guy. I warned you about this guy.
6 hours, 24 hours or so, a number of people have tagged me on X. I post things on X and people tag me, hey, have you seen this? Or have left YouTube comments with these videos in them. And these are actual people who are in my audience who have seen these videos and want to know what I think about them. And then I got an email from a friend of mine just a little while ago, and that's what prompted me, okay, let me sit down and write my thoughts on this, about this topic and these videos that people are sending me. And a number of these videos are causing, it seems like a little bit of panic. And I am, trust me, I've told you this is a time to panic. I mean, we're $38 trillion in debt. We have hundreds of trillions of unfunded liabilities. We are going down the tubes. This is why I've been telling you for years. It's time to prepare. It's time to get a homestead, put some seeds in the ground, learn how to garden. It's not something you can learn overnight. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes experience.
You got the message from this guy. And so I was warning you about the Asian guy, but there is something to the silver. There is something to what's going on. Let's see. I mentioned beryllium, chemical element, alkaline earth metal. It's gray, hard, strong, lightweight, and brittle alkaline earth metal. It is a devilant, number of chemical bonds. Beryllium is not much, but when there's a little bit of it in something else, it makes emeralds and rubies. Without beryl, you don't get these beautiful stones. They're different colors, but they say it's right there. Beryllium, nothing you could do without it. Discovered it from this book, really. The book I showed you earlier, Grecis Helmensis, written in the 4th century CE, so they say, contains the notes on how to prepare artificial emeralds and beryl. I still have some swelling, and so I'm going to be mispronouncing some of these things. I'm trying as hard as I can. So these guys who were Freemasons, they were given the instructions. Here's how you make it. And now if you need a wrench that doesn't spark, you can add some beryllium to the metal and it won't spark. Amazing. The beryllium spheres. What else have we got here? Oh, some pictures. I want you to love beryllium. Barrels, gemstones. Gold, silver, and precious stones is what you do by obeying the Lord, because the scriptures say he has charted, set up good works for you to do once you've been saved by grace, and you're going to be judged by, did you do it? Did you even try? Good works that you're supposed to do in his name, and he's given you talents to recognize. Gold, silver, and precious stones are in you. And when you obey, do what he says, hey, that's you. That survives the fire. This is eternal salvation we're talking about, people. This is 154 recipes for dyeing, coloring gemstones, cleaning pearls, imitation gold and silver. They knew how to do it. Why do you have to act like they don't? Or they didn't? Because that would be, responsibility. Now it's not only a theory, it's something else. Is anybody getting a storm this Christmas? There's the Asian guy. Nope, that's not the Asian guy. That's the guy that everybody's worried about Christmas. I've canceled 5 or 6 channels. Well, thanks for the nudity alert. The world. There is some live weather. Everybody, Merry Christmas. I don't think that's live. So let's start the Encyclopedia. You guys ready for that? This is what I'm doing. I hope there's somebody here watching. Half a dozen for me. That's cool. Let's see what the Luther says. I watch all of them. Keep myself occupied. Don't believe half of what they say. Can hardly remember what they talk about because of all the commercials. Wow. They should get that thing where they don't show the commercials. But I get it. What else are you going to be doing? Are you going to be watching soap operas? It's you got to keep up on what people are doing. You could just say something to do instead of keep myself up. But it is interesting, but it is time. It is maybe even past time to go, what is your personal theology? Who has made the best arguments? What do you believe? What are you willing to die for? What are you willing to say, this far and no more? For me, it's like a not even starter with his friend that goes like, I casted out 40 demons in one weekend. Show me the video. Let me talk to those people. Because that's fake Christianity, people. Let's look. So here's your starting the Pocketpedia. We're going to go through in no particular order. A lot of China, because they did the first system of interconnected canal, various rivers, and recognize them. Do they look like what's in your country? Same rocks, same locks, practically the same depth. These held together with those metal clips. The Grand Canal. That is, they just started on it and said, hey, let's just try to go 100 feet. It ended up going 1,000 miles with this typical, what everybody learns from. Here's how you do the Erie Canal. So you can load 16 tons. And then United States, they invented it in 1700s or some 1500s in England. Everything is shaded lie. Does this look familiar? Do these type of bridges put some Japanese, Chinese balloons around it? Next thing, I mean, this is, we see it everywhere. You got yourself a worldwide phenomenon. The canal in China, the Erie Canal, that's a good one. Whatever they got going there in the St. Lawrence all the way to Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie just seems so plain until you realize they could not have done this. They don't even need that mortar. That mortar was put on, falls off, but they made it to look like, oh, we did it. No, it fit in perfectly. The China Canal. One of the things you'll study on the Mudflood Encyclopedia. So this guy, breaking off of that for 1 second, I just had to put him out there. William Sargent, psychosurgery, deep sleep, electroconvulsive therapy, insulin shock therapy, Second World War. Okay. He did everything. They learned how to mess with people's mind, and they were experimenting on people, as they say, left and right, leading up to and after the world wars. And then he got caught. I mean, these things were, oh no, he was part of MK Ultra mind control. These guys did it. Of course they did it. They can say no evidence has emerged that his work with deep sleep treatment had any links to intelligence services, but what are they going to do? His work was part funded by the CIA. That's where his friends, his roommates in college were probably CIA. His quotes about the mental health of Jesus. Do we really need these people? He's thinking Jesus might have been, just go back to doing his carpentry if Sigmund Freud could have got a hold of him. This is sickening. And okay, back to the encyclopedia. China again, because we're looking at movable type. First, they'll show you the Gutenberg typeset composing stick. That's hard. You got to do it backwards, one letter at a time. There it is. Hey, that's not Gutenberg. That's something like it, though. Look at him. He's pounding those things into place. It's hard, but worth it. Oh, no. They were doing it at the time of Christ in China with gold seals. Yikes. It's a gift from Japan. Wood block printed book. That, my friends, are small, small Chinese characters printed on a little piece of ceramic with the movable type. I know that Gutenberg gets a lot of credit because he did that Gutenberg Bible. But they had it going on. More mysteries because Mudflood was Armageddon. If you're new, if you're just catching on because you're here, you saw the Mudflood thing. Roman concrete is going to be a part of your life. They have concrete that has lasted thousands of years. They keep saying they lose the recipe, that these guys must have rediscovered it, and then they lose it. We use it in our era because we've recently rediscovered it. But Roman, writing again, time of Jesus, distinguishing types of materials appropriate for the preparation of lime mortars. And we make concrete, I think, intentionally to last 35, 40 years because somehow all of those fracking wells that are sealed with non-Roman concrete, some of those are over 40 years now. I wonder how they're doing. Look at that. So still concrete working on the Appian Way. They had to remove the original cover. So there's that. The Roman concrete. You'll hear a lot about it. You're going to hear a lot about this, but you'll hear it more along the lines of multi-stage rockets. Uh-huh. 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 Hey, you know what? I think, I had this swelling up. I had a really bad infected tooth, and I got behind in my colloidal silver. You know what? You know what worked? I was pounding the colloidal silver. I was using vibrations from bells because we always are being told in all of the past historical documents they have some frequency thing, right? So I was doing that. I was doing gargling, and then I don't think you have to be a Gregorian that if they have healing chants. So I was just going like, I'm going to cover it up a little bit. I was going. I spent a lot of time trying to make vibrations in my mouth, doing the colloidal silver, doing the bell by it, and praying, God help me. This is, ow. Let's go back to the encyclopedia. Yeah, gargle with the salt water. That's when my mom used to always tell me, Luther, and I didn't question my mom because I was too smart for that. Rocket driven arrows, a magazine of 3. Hulang Kushai had a hollow bamboo tube with a curved wooden dragon head just for looks. So, but in your journey to mud flood freedom, you're going to run into a lot of rockets, a lot of missiles. You'll hear about Damascus steel. You'll realize that when you buy a Damascus knife today, they are nice, but they're not the true Damascus steel of even the 1900s. No, we've lost that as much as we've lost the Roman technology. They can't do it. I'll read this here microscopic section of crucible steel and false color labeling. That must be the blue and the green, showing rafts rich in carbide forming elements, which lead to clustered cementite spheroids, as well as divorced cementite spheroid. Hey, you guys, God hates divorce. Modern Damascus is just a couple of steels folded together. Better than normal knives, worth a little extra money, but you don't need a bunch of them. Modern, how it works. So do they say that they can't do it anymore? Most common explanation is that steel is named after Damascus, the capital city of Syria, one of the Bible towns. Should have been left empty. First manufactured in the Near East. Reputation and history of Damascus still has given rise to many legends. Because basically, starting with we couldn't do it, but Beowulf could, Grendel could. There were the guys that snuck on the ark. Remember, Shelley? They're going to find some way that it wasn't the people that came out the ark that were related to, because in their theology, they have to have another bloodline of Nephilim. And I used to call them Nephilim too. Nobody knew anything until we realized, wait, that's the wrong word. Nephilim is only used in the Bible 3 times, and it only means tall people. And the Gibborim is worse for their argument, unless you are into extra books of the Bible, which the Bible forbids. Hey, what's next on the Pocketpedia? The gimbal, that's old. This is not new. Is this another one from China or somewhere? No way they had a gimbal in 1230. No way there was a 1230. They did. It was an early modern dry compass suspended by gimbals. What in the... So it's not like it's complicated. Wait, it is complicated. And it's never been improved on? That's a big one. But it's still the same principle. Wow. We were using these red cameras in the 1990s at the church I went to, Lakeview Presbyterian in Vernon Hills. It's right by the Great Lakes. The CIA go there. Trinity College go there. Gimbal. That's an expensive gimbal. I wonder how much. $100,000 for the whole setup? Well, that's only part of the setup, and it's 30 grand. We only want to know the gimbal. What do you say, 6,000? That's not the right kind. I know I'm dragging it out. Sorry. But I do want to kind of know. And what do we got? What do we got going here tonight? eBay. Red Rock is 500. Come on. Used about $1,000. That's for all of this. That would be a pretty good deal. That probably is a ripoff. I wouldn't trust. I don't think you can get that, or it's super old or something. Because we saw the new base alone, not anything else, was 30. Let's get back to the finding the thing here. So automatons, we couldn't do this back then. Only one picture? No, there's some more. Where's that goose that can poop? we'll look at that a little bit more. That is not the pooping one. So these things move. These things move. They have these great big clocks. That's another one you'll probably end up studying, so I'll look at it. A whole theater of automata. Robots. It's robots. There's the pooping duck. They said it was a trick. Oh my goodness. Yikesity doodah. Tipu's tiger. That looks creepy. A flute player, huh? Look at that. That's one of those guys that was one of those commies or something. Nope, Russian poet, born into the nobility. He had a social activist life. Which way did he lean? Influenced by the Kantian liberal, that's Immanuel Kant. So metaphysics, epistemology, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to get you to heaven. Here's another, okay, we'll look at some of these. Oh, weird, man. Automatons, this thing has been working consistently for 1,000 years? Or did they just build it? Come on. Mudflood with me. It's been around. That's during the Nazi occupation. Black and white makes anything look old. In case you were wondering what it would do, probably almost anything you wanted to concerning time, clocks. I'm seeing it's got the topic of cancer. And it's curved. I don't think that they thought it was a curved earth, though. I think it is a pattern of where it goes. What's next? The Nazca lines. No way you're not going to hear about that. This is going to be one of your Mudflood goes to. Is that a monkey head? Is that a monkey tail? First read about these back in Eric von Daniken, Gold of the Gods. I would get those things right. You know, they were straight to paperback. It's World Heritage Site. It's the way they find water is what they say. And there's other weird things around the Nazca lines. But you'll get all kinds of opinion that will have to one goal, take you away from scripture. But it's mysterious. So they want you to focus on it's mysterious. One of these things with a spider is one of a rare thing that it shows how it breeds with its back leg or something. It's a really weird one. But it also has, near the Nazca holes, sometimes they call them grain holes, but they don't know what they are. I showed the thing, right? We don't need the whole 10 minutes. Who is this guy?
Have you seen the new scans of the Nazca lines where they found new petroglyphs?
Yeah. This mysterious cultivate crops and sustain life? These are the questions that have left scientists, historians, and archaeologists searching for answers in the dusty, windswept expanses of the Nazca Desert. Discovery of the spiraling holes. The mystery of the spiraling holes in the Nazca Desert first caught the attention of scientists and archaeologists in the 1920s. These strange and unusual formations,
These are not the grain holes I was thinking of, but I forgot about these.
visible from high vantage points or aerial views, piqued the interest of researchers who were drawn to their bizarre spiral shapes.
Sounds like a computer, right? This one's showing pictures, though.
Activity. The rounded stones used to form the spirals were carefully arranged to ensure that the entire system would remain intact during earthquakes and tremors.
Oh.
This engineering marvel allowed the Nazca people to thrive in a desert environment. Current
I'm thinking and planning and teaching that I'm here where I am because we need to live in a desert environment, hoping that people have left us ways. It's the Band of Holes in Peru. It's right by Nazca Plateau in Peru. Hey, that's not very much info on that. Sometimes, you got to deal with what you're dealing with here because they're not your friend. Look, here's a better one. There's a better view of them. Thanks, Wikipedia, for not showing me this one and how they just keep traveling right on down the mountain there. That was a bonus Pocketpedia. Now let's look at the Baghdad battery. Everybody's going to tell you about that. They were so smart. This is another one of the Erich von Däniken from the 1970s, discovered in 36. So we were hearing about it like it was brand new. Ooh, they could do battery. They could do electroplating. Oh, we know so much more now what they did. Current whereabouts are the unknown because the U.S., when it invaded Iraq, it went straight to the museum and got the list for their curses and their other artifacts because that's their religion. Pocketpedia, the Nazca lines, Baghdad battery. So this is that Anacathera. They say it's a computer. Everybody's burned out on it because it's like, yeah, nobody gets it. They made models. It's hard. It's so complex. There's no way they could have done it, but they found it. There's a replica of a Roman odometer. Is that an Anacathera type thing? A ball drops from a gear wheel into a box with an audible signal, and you've gone a mile. And if it's your job to listen for it, you better hear it. Suzhong's clock tower. We'll look at that individually. If you want to get a little Lego, they could do it. Repeating crossbows, you're kidding me. Metal? 1,000 years old? Oh, it's wood, but they could shoot. Automatic crossbows, non-recurve, repeating crossbow. Just hunting. They say war ones would be recurved. Look at these guys. And the English went over there and bombed them to smithereens because they had never made cannons. Come on. There you go. Proof they had automatic weapons. Maybe those guys doing those video games, those steampunkers weren't all wrong. You'll hear about crystal skulls, pre-Columbian Mesoamerican artifacts by the people who claim to have found them. They say some are fake, some are real, some are mysteries. This is the one with the detachable jaw, I believe, that everything was up for grabs back then. It's still up for grabs. Really only going to show me 3 pictures of the crystal skulls. Then we're going to have to look at the mysterious one because it is a lot of new age. Bill Holmes, was he into it? Many crystal skulls claim for these skulls have no separate jawbone. Well, I don't think that they all did. Maybe just some of them, had to have. He's the one with the detached claims she found the skull. Her dad said, "Go look in that cave." She came back carrying this. "Hey, look what I found." Clear crystal, size of a small human skull. This thing doesn't look like it's ever been chiseled, and the sanding would have taken way too long. So you'll hear about it. You'll see it. Some people, it's their be all end all. I looked up Linda Vista. This is where in October, they started building houses because did they know that in December they were going to be attacked and they would need aircraft workers in a town where now, the houses are $900,000. They built 3,000 in one of the nicer suburbs for a while there. It was in 200 days. Well, what they do 200 days after that? They probably built 3,000 more somewhere else. And they give all the credit to, one guy who, boy, without this one guy, what would we do? He's an aviation pioneer, an industrialist. He is to be trusted because he was an officer. Oh, born in Monsanto, Washington. Yikes. Did he get wiped out? That's that silver panic, the Leadville thing. His family wiped out, but he made it. So that's the way it goes in Mudflood world. Now here's another Pocketpedia. Things that are confusing to people. How did they really? You need 1 million things to make a purple color. And according to their pictures, it was everywhere. And they all used that Tyrian purple. And they get it because there's a little purple in there. And if you crush these up and separate it, see that's very little bit, but you deep purple, clad in purple. Hercules' dog said, "Look, I made my mouth get stained purple. We should dress everybody in purple. You want to buy that? Go ahead." Look at that cuneiform tablet. I believe we're ending with a cuneiform tablet. Purple. Nothing rhymes with purple except maple slurple. Here's another one. Medieval stained glass. I believe that medieval stained glass are gemstones of the Titans reserved in judgment because they'll die like men. And so much of what they call slag glass, there's nothing around there that anybody would have had the ability to heat up and make colored glass with the right sand. No, they found these and thought they'd do it during the 1,000-year reign. And then, some were wheat, some were weeds. But the mystery, the color, the inherent color, deliberately added colorants, if you study it, the temperatures have to be so precise. They're the gemstones that they talk about that you can build up in your body. The Saturn V rocket, that's a Mudflood thing? Huh. There's no way that they should have jumped from the V2 to this in 10 years. It's practically impossible. The Apollos, the segmented rockets, the missile rockets powered by hydrogen peroxide, another natural, that's their deal. They did not go to the moon. They faked it. They can get some heavy lift things. They want you on board with Virgin Galactic, Musk and Tesla, going to take you to Mars, anything for a distraction. The shuttles, so fake. South pointing cart. Look at that little guy. You see which way he's pointing? South. They had these in 1609. They had them in way before that. And they used this type of a thing. This is the drive shaft, like for an automobile. They know how to make them. They have the plans. It kind of goes like this. Somebody in ancient China invented a mobile-like armored cart in the 4th century BC. That's the time of Daniel, the prophet. It was used for the purpose of protecting warriors on the battlefield. And I guess they needed to know which way was south, provide protection for the sappers. Sappers are like pioneers, people who go in early and do, like when you look at sappers, they'll be, you know, in their old pictures, they usually are pioneers carrying shovels and whatnot. You know, pioneers are allowed to take their wife and use their sapping skill to fix up the things that are around there. So when the United States had pioneers and they sent their people out west, well, it was sapperty doo da, sappery day. Legends of earlier south pointing chariots. There are legends of them that go back even further. Did everybody was always smarter than us? You'll hear about Greek fire. They'll show you the same few pictures and they'll say, probably exaggerated, we don't know what it was, but it was definitely there in their depictions, and they didn't like it. They didn't want it. They didn't want to get hit with it. So, but wow. Huh. What a production. Take that. Does this, where's the bellows? Or was it just pumped? Oh, he's doing it with, come on, dude. Well, they had something, ceramic grenades. That would probably hurt. Ow. Stop, you guys. Their instruments were better. Somehow we ended up with some leftover Stradivariuses, and they're all better. I think they did it. Lord made them, you know, and they were made in what years? You can see the 1707, right? We know. We know. I hope you know, and you're not still wondering. The Stradivarius. They do the testing, and its unmatched sound quality has been debated by people who go, no, they're faking it. It sounds the same to me, but in a way, isn't that a lot? That over half of his instruments survive because they have papers for them all, names for them all. It's a Mudflood mystery. Hey, so's this. The Cyrus cylinder, an ancient clay cylinder, now broken into several pieces. It talks about the great Persian king, Cyrus the Great, who made people worship the one God of Israel because he had seen a bunch of miracles. And you know, the Bible talks about Marduk. It talks about this. It talks about that. It explains it in the book of Ezra, how Nehemiah, oh, my face is downcast. What's wrong? Oh, I think we should rebuild the temple. Good idea. Go get it done. Here's some money. Take off. You know he's the true God. We're going to worship him. They can still worship their own gods, but they better know the one most high God. I don't know how things worked back then. I know now you got to worship. It's all about Jesus. There's only one way. How about that? Assyrio-British. They wrote a different version of history. Here, let's read this verse. If I'm not sharing, I'll be mad. I'm sharing. This is what the Lord said to Cyrus, his anointed, whose right hand I have grasped to subdue nations before him. Cyrus, to disarm kings, to open doors before him, so that the gates will not be shut. Verse 2. I will go before you and level the mountains, break down the gates of iron and bronze, cut through the bars of iron. That was to be expected. Iron, cut through the stones, no problem. We got it. The word anointed, though, should intrigue you. Perk up your ears. David was anointed. And David wasn't Persian. Huh. Aaron's sons were anointed. Very important thing. Consecrated person. Specifically, the Messiah. He's like that. He was super anointed. That was God coming to save us by proving that there's no such thing as real death in this world. It's spirit death we have to worry about. This body ain't going to make it. Surely the Lord's anointed, talking about Saul, David, and Cyrus. And then leading to, Jesus. Touch not my anointed ones. Do my prophets no harm. They didn't want to believe Jeremiah at all, did they? When he was telling them, uniquely, a foreign ruler is styled his anointed because God sovereignly appoints him to rebuild the temple. Demonstrating being anointed, the king of an anointed, when God anoints them, not ethnicity. You've got to be understanding that you did, right? Oh, yeah, we're not Hebrews either, but we're definitely part of his family. The people I started out talking about. You guys, they sure get a lot about who are the watchers, the magicians, the diviners. Daniel, Belshazzar, magicians. He saw the vision. 7 years of misery before he realized, this is Nebuchadnezzar, but he came out and go like, wow, now I know the God of Israel is the one. The holy watchers coming down from God. Holy one, a watcher. Is this word, you'll find it a lot in the apocryphal, heretical book of Enoch. But in true scriptures where it says, don't ever get any other book, only these scriptures. You have these knuckleheads convinced that the watchers are bad. They're the bad guys. The watchers are all turned bad. 40 of them or 100 of them, and they all rape the women. But in scripture, they're always right here, only here. Chapter 4 of Daniel. It's a watcher. It's a holy one. There's nothing anywhere in scripture you got a couple more here. Daniel 5. These saints, they're ones that have been set apart. Now, those of you who think that I do this to say, it's me against the world, it's not. But from the very beginning, didn't I say that God called me and said, hey, start reading the Bible different? And then people did. And then they took it another direction, like I was told they would, and said there's going to be a lot of denominations to this. But it's the truth. We got to rightfully divide the truth. There is no point in history where people like Paul Stopes, who wrote the Nephilim Clown book, hangs out when he's a new Christian, doesn't really know what he believes, late to the party on flat earth, but he wrote a book because he was given information by demons while he was taking psychedelics, something that I'm in favor of. And I've never seen anybody, when I've done it in the presence of hundreds of people with together at separate times, hundreds of people, and nobody ever saw a demon. I've never seen a demon. I've never seen those, demons come in and materialize like they say. That's a lie. And now he's talking to a charismatic and another guy that casts out demons, and they're not questioning each other's, like, well, what does the Bible say about tongues? What does the Bible say about all people are related to the 8 people that were on the ark? Nobody else. There's no other bloodlines except our blood is dirty. Our spirit is dirty. It's been passed down to us vicariously because Adam sinned. It's not, oh yeah, we're bad, but the Nephilim are really worse. We got to find out about them. That's part of the deception and the lie. This is a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. They added 1,000 years. They messed with your orphan trained brain. That Hegelian dialectic, put it in the Paco's pocket encyclopedia of Mudflood facts. Your parents, grandparents were in on it. So were mine. We made it. We were the ones they chose to get set at a desk with a globe on our teachers everywhere in the world. All taught the same thing, that at this point in history, maybe there's not more than 2 genders. But for a while, the last 20 years, we thought there was. Last 10 years, since 2015, elected it. This is culminating. I don't know if you got enough silver. What you need is more. Honey, we need to talk. You need to be a man and woman of God and realize, what are you going to do? Do you realize what's happening and love them so much you'll stay with them in the city? And you don't think if you call their bluff that they won't go, yeah, I'll go with you. You're going to have to start thinking about these type of things because it is on you now. Me and my friends will never tell you anything else. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakaman. Adios, amigos. I like to say goodbye like that.